Was that not poetic? Welcome to Growing Leonardslee. My name's Adam Streeter. I'm the General Manager of Leonardslee Gardens. Join me each episode as I talk with members of the team about everything from the history of the gardens, restoration challenges, wine, wallabies and everything in between. Get a peek behind the scenes, hear stories from all those involved, both past and present, whilst we also talk about what the future holds for the estate. It's never a dull day when you're growing Leonardslee.
Hi there, welcome to another episode of Growing Leonardslee. We decided to bring back the podcast because there's been a few exciting developments happening recently. I'm joined today by, some of you may have heard of him, his name's Anya Delport. He's a up-and-coming chef. Also, we have his wife and restaurant manager of restaurant Interlude, and also the biggest critic, Anya. And then we're also, you would have seen quite a lot of his wood on the TV recently. It's Ben the Woodman, who Jean's been working with, for quite a while now, and helped out with a lot of the props for the Great British Menu. And I think that's really what we want to talk about. So, hello everyone, how are you doing?
Very well, and you?
Yeah, not too bad.
Thanks for having us back.
Yeah, pleasure. Anything exciting been happening recently?
Yeah, I mean, we've been quite busy over the last couple of months, which is quite fun. But
So I think everyone's enjoyed watching you on Great British Menu. It was absolutely amazing. So I think we all knew for a little while now. Obviously, you were away filming before Christmas, and it's been hard to keep all of that quiet. So we actually finally get to speak about it, and it's been really interesting, sort of looking at what actually happened versus what you told us and what we'd sort of heard about. What was it like for you watching back?
Yeah, I think watching yourself back is almost a bit cringe, isn't it? It's quite a hard one to take in. But I think once you get over that factor, it's actually quite interesting to watch again.
No, but oddly enough, we actually invited all of the chefs in the kitchen to do a viewing party.
That's brilliant.
For the reason that it kind of just took a little bit of the pressure off. So if someone's going to make fun of you, it's at least going to be to your face, basically. Yeah. Well, to his face. We had nothing to do with it. So that was quite fun. But we had to do. So I remember the morning that it showed, obviously on BBC iPlayer, everything comes out the day, like all at once. Yeah. We had to do a little pre-viewing party just to make sure Jean didn't.
So what time were you guys watching it then?
I don't know, what was it? Like you had just come back from gym, so what, like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock?
So straight into it.
In bed, just sitting there with our cup of coffee. We just watched the first episode though, but then I think your mind was then at ease with how you come across.
I think the biggest thing for me was I was quite stressed. So you don't know how you're going to come across like online and on TV. I mean, it's quite, when you're filming, it's very different to what you're seeing on TV. So yeah, that was obviously, but once you've seen how it kind of comes and how you just kind of settle down, so it's like, okay, I'll be fine.
Yeah, it's like with anything, isn't it, really? Sort of once you know that, and actually I'm sure it's not true for everyone, because I'm pretty sure some people don't come across as they want to, but, thankfully I think you came across, amazingly well, even better than probably could have hoped for. But this is not going to be a podcast about blowing smoke.
That happens often enough.
I know. Jean just went to go and get us coffees from the clock tower here at Leonardslee, and he said he already had about 5 people sort of hustling, bustling, trying to get to rub shoulders with the latest celebrity chef. So
no, but the other day we were doing briefing, which is in the lounge area, so it's a public space. And people had just come in because they just want to look around the house. And just as we got up from briefing, we saw these people being like, Jean, that's Jean. And then Simba had to be like, yeah, Jean, he is busy now.
That's nice. I mean, has that been must be quite enjoyable, sort of, getting people wanting to come and chat to you and sort of, find out how it all went.
I think, I mean, I was worried about it, but we've had such a positive impact from it, which has been amazing. So everyone's been really, really kind, loads of good messages and stuff. And then, when people want to stop and chat, it's also, it's quite rewarding in that way that actually we've gone on and we've made a slight difference and we've been really good at what we've done. So it's been, for me, I've enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
You love it, don't you?
I think from all of our perspective, I mean, Restaurant Interlude and, has now been open since 2018. So it's not like, it's just sort of popped up, and it just happens to be now that it's getting on more people's radars as a result of the show. And I think that's the most important thing, because actually, you know, you guys have put in a lot of hard work into this restaurant. It's been here, it's been amazing for a long time. And it's just about making sure that people get to see that and now get to come and experience it. So yeah, I think it's all the hard work was worth it. All the memes that are going to be made out of you will all be worth it.
And most of them are going to come from the chefs in the kitchen.
Not you.
No, I don't have it at the time. I just do it to his face, you know.
So actually, because I sort of obviously was aware of things that are going on, but it'd be quite cool to hear about. So Ben, you know, when John approached you and sort of how that developed with the ideas of how the props came about, and you know, it must have been quite exciting to sort of work on.
I think you were quite crucial in it, because I feel like after Jean met with you the first time, I felt that he was a bit more at ease with the idea, because I think he had you to kind of just chat with, if I'm honest.
I mean, we probably spent 5 or 6 hours spitballing different ideas, and I think a lot, well, I don't know about a lot, but certainly from the first ideas that you came with to what you ended up doing were quite different in some respects. Some was, you were adamant that was going to be it. But it was great to go through that design process and you know, play around as we went.
Yeah, I think being able to come to you and obviously I pitch my ideas and kind of see what you can do and can't do, which is normally what you can always do. But for me, it's like being that soundboard. And once I'd given my ideas to someone that could understand the vision and where it was going, it completely changed, and I just felt a lot more at ease. I think for me, the hardest part was coming up. Obviously, the whole GBM is inspired about a theme for every year, and this year was obviously celebrating Britons of past, which is a phenomenal topic because I could really relate to that. I could find people that have meant a lot to me, either connecting through our roots in Africa or at home, or just people that have influenced my life, like growing up, and I was able to kind of showcase that in a good way. But I was never really kind of, and I couldn't get the food to kind of click with my ideas. And then after chatting with Ben and sitting down and kind of, okay, once I've started getting all the visuals and we can do this, we can do that, everything just started falling in place. And then literally the week after that, I had all my dishes in my head and I could go. And then it was just practicing. So yeah, without sitting down with him and kind of really hatching it out, I don't think the food would have come as quickly.
Yeah, I think it really shows the kind of collaborative effort, because, you know, it's obviously, you know, as you proved once you got into the kitchen, you could definitely execute those things. But yes, that kind of journey and how you build all of that up to get to that point is quite important. Yeah, no, it was amazing to see.
So were you always kind of confident with your dishes, with the food? Was everything else?
No, I think for me, I always worry about the food aspect of it. I mean, that's kind of, but for me, the main part was to try and really get that connection on the brief. I think that's where I'm normally quite strong on those kind of things, but I wanted to make sure that I had people that I respected massive amounts that could kind of talk back onto a plate without having to make too much fuss. And that's when I started getting stressed about the food and understanding. So I don't want to make it gimmicky or anything like that. So
no, and that was crucial, wasn't it? Not to make it gimmicky, but make it have that impact and wow factor that came across with the brief.
So going like just through the first sort of few episodes and the heats, how was that? Did that sort of help you then when you got to finals week sort of relax a little bit more because you knew what you were getting yourself into, or was it, you know, the same throughout, just sort of having to deal with it as you go along?
Yeah, I think I was just kind of really wanting to get cooking. I think that was the big thing. So, I mean, it's like, I don't think people talk about it enough, but it's like, it is all consuming. It's like, since you, from the day you sign up till like the filming, it's like, it's not just a couple of weeks, it's months and months. It took me about 5 or 6 months of my life away. Like, and it's not just being physically involved all the time, it's mentally the whole time. It's draining, you're worrying, you're stressing, planning.
And you procrastinate. So there was a lot of days where you kind of sit on the sofa. No, genuinely, we, like a whole entire September holiday was like, we're not going to do anything because Jean needs to do GBM, he needs to do GBM. And then he doesn't do it because you procrastinate, because you're kind of stressing about something, and then the situation becomes, well, the stress becomes even bigger, and then the procrastination just gets a little bit worse. Until I think one day we managed to just get, I don't know.
Well, you are like really a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to stuff like that. So, you know, you've always said you're not going to do something if it's going to be half-assed. It's got to be, you know, spot on, and you know you're not going to go on something like that and not make sure you really give a good account of yourself.
Yeah, no, I mean that's why I kind of put it off doing it for a couple of years. It was something I've always wanted to do, I think, and it was important to be able to do it, and I'm glad that I did it when I did, because my confidence was obviously a lot higher, and I was very comfortable from where we are now. Yeah. The restaurant's really strong now, so yeah, it's amazing to kind of showcase that. But yeah, going back, I mean, the first day there was kind of the stressful part. Like, I think on the first heat, it's kind of, you don't know who you're up against. You don't know how they're going to be cooking, how I'm going to come across, how I'm going to cook, how nervous am I going to be.
Who's going to be judging you?
Yeah, who's going to be judging us.
So do you find that out literally as they walk out?
You have no idea, like, at all. Like, you get to see them while you're in the kitchen. And then, I mean, just the first day, the nerves are just so intensified. It's insane. Like, you can't, like, just doing normal jobs, it's like, it's really I mean, you're not used to, I mean, I can deal with a camera or two, but then there's like 5 or 6 cameras on top of you. People are talking to you the same time you're working. You've got a judge coming in that you've never really met for, but the utmost respect for, people that you like looked up to. So it's just like, yeah. But once that first day was done, and the first course, like that, the starter course was obviously, I love that dish, but it never really kind of had enough time to kind of develop. After that was cooked, I felt a lot more, okay, I know where I have to be now. I've learned how to work around people, and it's just getting into that extra focus mode. As a chef, you always have so many gears that you can go into, and we're quite lucky like that. But yeah, so you start off and you think you're doing well, and then you realize how far behind the ball you are, and you've got to start accelerating, and you've really got to get through to it. So yeah, I think I learned a lot on that first day, 2 days, and then after that, it's like, okay, you've got to really pull up your socks and go for it now.
Because I presume it's not just the new environment, it's working alongside other people that you're not used to working alongside.
Yeah, and it's erratic people as well. It's people that, I mean, not necessarily cooking all the time as well. The cameras take up a lot of space, and it's like, okay, normally I'll be able to squeeze through this gap or that gap. And I work fast, I run around a little bit, and I kind of move things around. So like to be able to do my natural thing in that kind of space was quite awkward.
Yeah. Do you not bump into the cameramen and kind of knock them and...
Yeah, I mean, I've apologized so many times to them. They're just an amazing bunch, but really good fun. Eventually you make jokes and games out of it, which is quite fun.
Really?
But
God, what games? So what's the game? Can you tell us?
No, some of them were a bit more personal, but...
Okay,
but no, I think
we're not going to have a BBC problem.
Yeah. No, it's all a good spirit. It's really fun. And they always want the best for you. So they're like, don't just push me out the way. It's not an issue, but that's not how I am. I don't want to push someone out the way. No. But eventually you get to that point where, okay, I'm coming past you now, and you just got to bear with it. And then
you had a favourite cameraman, didn't you?
Yes, I was about to say the exact same thing. Do you know this story?
No.
Yeah, so one of the guys, why I took a liking to him is because he put me at ease like instantly. I was like really, really nervous that morning of cooking, and obviously there's so many big names. I've been watching the show since I was a kid. Like, it was just to kind of be on this now. I was like, oh. And then I've got surrounded by all these chefs where I just don't know where I'm going to fare. And yeah, he was like, I can see you can cook, don't stress, I got you. I'm gonna be able to kind of showcase. And every time he would kind of give me a little tip here and a little tip there, and he's like, oh, watch your pot on the stove, and I've got your back here, and it's just small little comments just to kind of put you at ease in the back of your head. And I think that helped me kind of really settle for the second day, and knowing that he was like following me and he had my back, so it was quite cool. Cool. Yeah, we formed a good friendship, and it's been,
that was it. I mean, that was like a theme. You were kind of the cuddler.
I don't know about that, but it's just someone that kind of ease. Like, it's just like, okay, it's nice to be able to give someone a hug at the end of the day, isn't it? So.
And what did you reward him with?
Yeah, I mean, he's a massive foodie, and he enjoys cooking, and he loves knives, and he saw my main course knife, which is quite a stunning piece. And so I managed to get him one made up for himself, especially as a gift. Yeah.
Oh wow, awesome. Camaraderie across that, especially in the heats, that really kind of came across, and I think a lot of people picked up on that, because I mean, it's interesting you talk about the things that we don't see, which are the behind the scenes with the crew, but obviously there was a lot of talk about the teamwork between the other contestants, and a bit of like blossoming bromances that were happening there. Did it feel like that? Was that kind of genuinely how it felt when you were sort of in the thick of it?
Yeah, I think, especially not on the first day. I think the first day I kind of blacked out a little bit. I was just kind of trying to get in the focus mode, and it's quite overwhelming to take everything in. On the second day, take a deep breath. I know what I'm doing. I can cook, so it's not an issue. It's just to get the timings right. Once you're relaxed and having fun, these kind of things, I think they come naturally. And I was quite lucky. Everybody in our group was really nice and really friendly. And we, at the end of the day, you want your best foot forward. So you always want someone to put out their best. There's no point watching someone go down. So it's like, it's a competition at the end. But at the end of the day, you also want it to be a fun experience. Yeah. So I think, being able to work together. And we had such a diverse but such a unique group of people that it actually made it really fun. So I don't know if they intended to cast it like that or not, but it was really cool.
Yeah, I wonder if they think about things like that.
Yeah, I'm sure you get the people that don't want to help each other.
Yeah, because to be fair, everyone talks about the camaraderie with the central heat with Sally and Harry from Trinity. There was also camaraderie, but it was a bit more formal. So I kind of felt like, these are higher class chefs. They were all serious. So their camaraderie didn't stem from necessarily a fun bantering place, but like a mutual respect of let's just
get it done.
Absolutely. Sure. Where the other rounds, I didn't find there was that much camaraderie.
No.
Actually, I found that there was one or two of the heats where I felt like people were, I don't know, it's fine. You do badly? Yeah, I'm just going to watch you.
Look out for number one.
Yeah.
From memory, that's pretty much what happened on the dessert in the heats, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that was a fun day. Yeah, shame, no. But Aaron is such an amazing guy. Like, he was so supportive of everyone. Like, even when, obviously some stuff happens that they don't get, I don't think quite makes the cut all the time. So, like, Jason burnt his arm quite badly.
Oh, really?
While serving up his main course the first time. And it was, like, all blistered all the way up his arm. And, we didn't get to see that. But I think he was really in a bad space, and it's just like Aaron was able to kind of calm his mind down. I was still serving, and then he was just like, "Okay, this is fine. You got this. You can do this." Yeah. And there's small things. I mean, like, it's a high pressure environment. You're kind of working to a time scale which is like almost impossible, and these small little things can trigger you quite quickly. But being able to bounce it off and just like, I don't know, Jason's such a loving big guy. Like, he just comes and gives you, like, puts his arm around you. Like, okay, I feel a lot better. And same vice versa. I'd like to think that I kind of did the same thing for them, because
I think you did.
I think it's very important.
I think it come across very, very nice in that respect.
Yeah.
You know, it all seemed very, very friendly, and in that environment, I imagine. Well, it's not, is it? Not all the time.
I mean, it's not. Is it? It's not really a natural environment, though, or is it? I mean, in terms of when you're cooking, there's all the cameras in your face. So, do you think that gets to a lot of people? Because you look at someone like Aaron, who, he got panicky towards the end, or maybe just started to lose a bit of control. And is that maybe because, it starts to get on top of you? Because, ultimately he seemed like a great guy, and I think I'd happily go and eat at his restaurant because, it looked like there's a lot of passion, and I'm sure his food's amazing. But, maybe on the day that just got to him there.
Yeah, I think not so much the cameras. I think you get used to that quite quickly. Because once you start doing your thing, you zone out to that. Obviously, the stopping and the starting a little bit, it gets quite tricky. But you're on, like, that time constraint doesn't get any longer; it stays the same. So no matter what you do, you've got to get out. The timing part of that is what makes it the most stressful. So, like, once you realize I've only got 20 minutes to get this done, and you need actually like an hour. That puts you in a spin quickly, and then it just gets amplified so quickly. And, like, honestly, in that kitchen, if you had 5 minutes normally, or what it should be in that kitchen, it feels like a minute. Really? Like, it's really insane.
And how long did you actually get?
No, I mean, it's
like,
because they don't actually say. Yeah, how long do they give you per course?
Yeah, so you get they keep it very fair. So you get to go up to the pass first, second, third, and fourth, and then they kind of rotate it. And you can kind of chat to them and say, look, I really like this dish. I really like this dish. I think I got my best chance with this dish. Would it be possible to go fourth on this one and then third on this one? And then they make it fair, and they take everyone's considerations in, and then they choose ultimately when you're up. So you don't have a choice on it. They tell you on the day, okay, you're this time, you're this time, or you're this time. The bigger the course is, the more time you get. Yeah. But like for the starter, for instance, the first time I put it up, I had an hour and 20 minutes, which is doable, what I did, but just.
Not doable enough to...
Defrost it.
No, but that's the thing.
Sorry.
But that's where the nerves came into it. I didn't work fast enough in the beginning.
I didn't catch you on camera going,
yeah. And then but when obviously you cook it like 3-4 times, eventually on the finals week, I was first up at the pass again with that dish, and that time frame was a lot less. I think I had like 50 minutes to get that up.
Okay.
And it's like, I mean, obviously we want to put our best thing forward, but at the end of the day, you sometimes have to sacrifice a dish to kind of go into the others. And like all my dishes, I think, were still fairly strong, But my last 3 courses were extremely strong, and I think they all had really good chances to get through. My starter maybe not so, but if I had executed, it would definitely be higher up.
Tight that time, isn't it?
Yeah.
20 minutes.
Yeah, and it's a lot to get done. And remember on that course, I'm making bread. I'm making something, freezing it, dipping it, defrosting it, making crackers, and then still dipping. I mean, it's a lot to do in that time.
That was probably your simplest dish. The starter, like in terms of number of ingredients and amount of work.
Yeah, I think technically it was a bit harder, but essentially ingredient-wise, there's a lot in there though. There's a lot of work as well. There's a big reduction process that needed to happen before I could even set things, and that kind of put it off a bit.
It was delicious though.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, the taste was phenomenal. It's just a pity I couldn't get temperature right.
Are you going to put it on here?
Yeah. Stay tuned.
He's just trying to find out if there's any wooden dishes there.
What do I need to make now?
How did you take the comments when you're in like the judging chamber, and how was it when you actually started getting that feedback?
Yeah, I think obviously I got Tom Akins as my veteran on the first day, and he's probably one of the toughest critics out there. And it was like my heart sunk a little bit because I was like, oh, it's my first time. But I think looking back in hindsight now was probably the best thing. I mean, I was assuming I was going to get a lot higher scores than I did, just because I practiced it a lot. I know the flavors are really good. I know I can cook, and I know the technique and stuff everything was pretty on point. But then to kind of get that, okay, but you haven't done this, and you haven't done that, and you haven't done this. And even though it's small micro details, looking back, I think it's probably the best thing because it really pushed me even harder to make it even better and force my timing and force this and force that. So yeah, I think it's probably the best that I did get someone like Tom. Yeah.
Who else would you have wanted to get if it wasn't Tom?
It's difficult to say, isn't it? Because I think from a chef's perspective, Tom was the one that you should have wanted and I would have wanted. Yeah. I mean, I looked up to him for a long time. I mean, he's a 2-star chef and he's been absolutely amazing for the industry in the UK. And yeah, I think his food thought, the way he looks at food and cooks food and whatever he does, like it's very similar to my ethos as well. So I think he could understand what I was trying to cook, which was nice. So yeah, to get that feedback. I mean, obviously it's hard to take a lower score when you're hoping for more.
But do you also kind of know that he's giving you, he's a harder.
Yeah, it's coming from a good space, and they're doing it essentially to kind of push you. I like that, and I think I needed that because it can definitely still always be better.
It's a sweet, isn't it, kind of thing. It's like, you'd much rather go in with a firmer critic to begin with rather than someone that's a little bit softer.
Because if you take the Northern Ireland heat, they were scored quite highly for their starters and fish course with Angela for the caliber of food coming out of there compared to what Jean's heat was giving out. 8 out of 10 for some of the courses, and you go.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Actually, that probably doesn't do people any favors. If you kind of, when you get to the finals and you've been judged, I mean, obviously you've done well, but then you get there and you've kind of, because you don't know who you're up against, you don't know, for all you're kind of coming off a high thinking, okay, I've got a good chance here, I'm going to go and smash it. And then you get there and maybe, there's other people that have maybe been scored more harshly but their dishes are amazing. And then suddenly you go, oh.
I think that's where finals week is so important because it is a level playing field, and it's like, okay, now you're properly putting yourself up against everyone. You start from scratch again, and you've got not just 1 or 2 palettes to impress. Now it's like, it's everyone, it's 4, and then you've got all the chefs as well. So anyone can gauge quite quickly after the first day. I think everybody knows where we stand, and but it's good fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, it looked like a lot of fun. I would crumble. I would crumble straight away, and I would be out. I'd just say, no, look, you guys go on. When it got to finals week, do you get to spend much time with the other contestants beforehand, before you get onto camera? Is it?
No, so finals week again, they keep it all very strict, and it's all like anonymous until you get into their kitchen. You don't know who's won any heats, until you walk in that kitchen, and it's like, oh, okay, you kind of scope the room and try and see who you know and who you know of and how they're going to. So I mean, it's quite daunting as you walk in. It's just the nerves just start all over again as well. The whole process is amplified because now it's not just 4 people; it's 8 people.
And I was sort of thinking, because I guess you could look at it 2 ways. For people coming in, they go, okay, that I know I've heard of that guy. He's got a star. But then I guess maybe on the flip side, there's that expectation then of people go, okay, this guy's, you've already put enough pressure on your shoulders yourself, and then you're kind of thinking, okay, I've got to prove why I've got this.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably one of the harder things to kind of enter the show and kind of get onto it. It's like you're putting yourself on the line. It's a little bit of yourself that you kind of really 100%. Showcasing, and
nowhere to hide.
Yeah, there is nowhere to hide really. So, okay, we've got this now. We've got to show why we have it, and. But yeah, luckily it came off and it's gone really well. Yeah.
So some of the people would have had quite a long time in between their heats and the finals. Did much of them change much of their stuff?
Well, there was a week between your heat and the final, wasn't there?
Yeah. So I was obviously they cast it so that I think it's over 8 weeks. So it's all luck of the draw, and I was I was the last heat that went through, and then it was only a week break, and then we did finals. Which in a way was quite nice because I had a bit of a momentum. Yeah. Luckily, I didn't have to change too much. But I think also in hindsight, I mean, we had a little bit more time, but it's also more time of stress. And it's more time of not doing anything. And it's kind of it's still the unknown. I've never been on the show. I don't know what I'm expecting or anything like that. Whereas if you've gone first, you got that, okay, cool. Or earlier on, you've just sorted yourself out. You got through. You could still tweak loads and practice.
I guess you've got a few weeks to then tweak, whereas you had to go straight back into it without, you did tweak things.
Luckily, I didn't have to. I think if you had to, it would be ideal to have more time. But just remember, we're doing this on the side. It's not like we're still running a restaurant and a business on top of that, still having a full-on, like, intense kind of life that still carries on, and then you're trying to make time to do all this stuff. So it's not always necessarily doable to kind of adjust and kind of keep practicing and do all these things. There's only so much you can do in a week. But
were you happy with going last so that you had that just basically 1 week and then back into finals?
Yeah, for me that's kind of my style, which is quite nice. So I was quite lucky on that because I could just go kind of pick up where I left off and be comfortable. I know everybody, no one's really dwindled, so like everyone, for me it was perfect.
Did you know that Tom Aikens wasn't going to be there for the whole week?
No, again.
Really?
So it's just like
just on the day.
Just as you get comfortable, they just kind of throw in a little spanner in the works.
I always wonder, I kind of when you're watching it and they go, okay, and we've got, we're going to change up, and I always think, they've probably all just been sat there having a cup of tea beforehand. But is it genuinely?
Yeah, no, it's genuinely they kept it a complete secret. I mean, that was probably the biggest surprise that I had on that week, just because it's like, okay, I've seen everything now. I can settle myself and I can cook and I can do this now. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, you're not settled anymore because now you're getting someone else. And luckily we got Lisa Goodwin-Allen, which was, I mean, she's just an idol and someone that I love so much. And I got to do Obsessions with her at the beginning of this year as well. But I mean, out of everyone, I think she was the one that I really wanted to kind of be able to cook for. Yeah. And she understands my type of food. So it was amazing to be able to get her. So then again, it was a big span in the works, but it's also comforting knowing that, okay, I'm cooking for Lisa, who's not just a veteran of the show, but like a proper legend of the show as well.
Yeah, you get a good balance really. You get to sort of get feedback from different people. Yeah. So I thought it was probably the best thing that probably could have happened. Yeah, it felt like that anyway.
Yeah, no, and it's like, okay, it's just showing you can't settle because like you can cook towards a veteran style as well if you had to. Like I know what Tom would like. I can kind of understand and kind of maybe I could edge it that way, and then they're changing it up again. It's like, oh, okay, I'll have to start learning again what they would like and kind of do this and that. So no, but it's good. Keep you on your toes, makes you stronger, doesn't it?
100%. What about when you get into the judges' chamber? Do you get your feedback? Is that quite intense at the time when you're finding out whether you've got through to finals and getting their comments?
Do they even give you the feedback at that point?
In the judging chamber, they give you, like when you're standing there, they give you little extracts and they kind
say,
of explain
who made this?
Yes, and like you don't know any of that. I mean, it's just like. I mean, cook for 4 people, like, and then not know how they're taking any kind of dish down until the end. It's quite tough. At least, like when you're in the restaurant, you're getting feedback constantly, which is quite nice. Yeah. Okay, well, we've got to tweak this, we've got to do that, and okay, I can up it here and up it there. But yeah, when you're doing that completely blind, it's quite daunting, to be fair.
So that's what we could have done with you being one of the. Walking down and then going back and going, you need to defrost those down.
Yeah. Well, it's just like a little like, okay, that one went down well. And it's just like, okay, you can relax. But you don't get any feedback at all. So it's just
you can't even read body language because it's not like you can see them through, a window or anything like that. It's just completely blind.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then walking into it, and it's like all these people staring at you. It's just like, wow, this is not dancing at all.
No. Do you get to spend any time? Do you get to chat to them at all, like afterwards? Much? Do they kind of give you a bit more feedback behind the scenes? Or?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of feedback, not really. Obviously, it's a competition at the end of the day, so they keep it fair. So they don't really. You don't disclose anymore, and they kind of chattel, but you get some feedback afterwards through the production. And just like you can kind of you can get their full comments of every dish and kind of their scoring, and then you can see, okay, well, I can take this on board or whatever you want to do with it. But yeah, in terms of them, just a quick highs and buys and little chats, but nothing major.
Oh. And does that develop at all across? I mean, obviously, spoiler alert. When you get to the banquet and you kind of get to do your dishes. So yes, he got 2 dishes. I'm sorry if we've had a couple of people say, I can't believe you sent a newsletter out saying that John got to the banquet. But
not all of us get to watch it live.
But yeah, then do you sort of on the night, do you sort of get to chat a bit more to some of them?
Yeah, I think the nerves are completely gone by then, and then it's like, okay, you're there to kind of do a job now, and it's a lot more camaraderie again, and they kind of put their arms around you and they're kind of helping you, and they're excited as well, which is quite nice. I mean, everyone was generally like proper positive and excited for the whole banquet, and it's nice, and it comes across. It's still a show and it's still a competition, but for me the banquet day is completely different to the rest.
Right.
We're there to have fun, we're there to enjoy and execute, and it's a once in a lifetime type thing. So yeah, to have them kind of come around, and it's a little bbit more, not necessarily buddy, but it's a lot more friendly. Like
your idea of relaxing and my idea of relaxing are very different. That looks, I mean, I love when you're out there just with your fires. Like that is the most South African thing ever. Just being outside with your braais, everything's on fire. So you look like you're enjoying yourself. Although a little bit too relaxed when you sliced half your hand off.
Yeah, come on.
I know.
He's going to blame the mandolin now.
I could blame the mandolin. I mean, to be fair, that mandolin wasn't it wasn't the proper type.
Not that cameraman.
Yeah. I didn't have the right one that I'm used to. But anyway, it's just one of those.
But I'm the cameraman.
But pressure does weird things. I mean, obviously, I was concentrating not on the job. I was concentrating on worrying about what's coming after it. Yeah, so I just wasn't focused enough.
Yeah.
Just a quick question though. How do you feel about the fact that you obviously forgot the herb crust on your main course at the banquet, and you didn't cook how many trays of potatoes? 3.
Yeah.
So they obviously made that look, because I read the comments. They say you shouldn't, but I read the comments, and someone said, well, he did forget the herb crust and he did forget the potato, so that might have counted against him. Now, obviously, when eating it, didn't even notice that it was there. Like, I didn't even notice it was missing.
Yeah.
But they obviously made it look like you could now have potentially like ruined your dish. Does that bug you at all?
No, I messed up, so it's not like it's. I mean, at the end of the day, the potatoes was only, I think it was like three things that I was short on one. Everyone got potatoes, and there was more than enough in a bag. Yeah. I just wanted to split it over the table so people didn't have to stretch. So the potatoes that was quite odd, because I tried to keep that really quiet. So they zoomed in on that quickly because I didn't think they really picked up on it. Yeah. But they did. The herb crust thing was also, again, that's only such a small aesthetic thing. It was more for color breaking, that color. It added a bit of texture and a bit of flavor, but it's not really a massive. You would never know if I served it with it or without it. No. You would never really. You would think that's
no one was sat there at the banquet going,
this needed a herb crust.
Yeah.
So it's just annoying because it took so long to make and dry out, and then I just didn't use it. So, like, honestly, the workload that I had was immense. It was so many things I had to do, and timing wise. Eventually, I'm sure I was always going to forget 1 or 2 things. And the potato one annoyed me the most. I think that I could have really, because it was done. I had made it all. It just needed to be cooked. And obviously the oven space was quite tight. So it's like you had to really kind of remember where you are and where you're rotating and what you're doing. So
how many others have done fish and main? Many?
Just one other. I think it was Spencer. Couple of years ago,
Was his the same 2 courses?
Yeah, so we're the only 2 guys that have done, or 2 chefs that have done fish and main back to back.
But didn't he? We need to rewatch that banquet episode now. But didn't he go down a little bit on those 2 courses?
Yeah, I mean, he's
with all due respect, I'm not saying that in any.
I mean, Spencer's fish course was absolutely amazing. I think he won Champions of Champions for that.
Oh, really?
But they did say that his main course suffered a little bit, just because. But where they were also cooking that year was very. logistically a nightmare. Like the kitchen was so far away from where the banquet hall was. So I don't know, but I mean, I wasn't there. But
how far away were you guys though? Because I could see Mark just like sprinting off into the distance.
Yeah, I think the canapé reception was quite far away from the kitchen.
The canapé reception was in the
okay.
long library, which is within the main palace.
Okay.
Where the banquet was held in the Orangery, which is like their day-to-day kind of fine dining restaurant on the space. So the kitchen and where the food was served was the same space.
It did make it look like, you were going to get your steps in, didn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Mark did, definitely.
Well, I think it's safe to say that you got your steps in. I remember, I think it was in finals week, or I mean, you sent me your Whoop kind of data. And I think it was like 40,000 steps on one of the days.
I must still actually post that on socials. But yeah, I mean, that was the biggest day I've ever had on my Whoop. It was like absolutely incredible. I mean, it felt like I'd run a marathon.
But that gives a real indication, but for anyone that sort of tracks any of their activity, you kind of, you think you've had a hard day and then you look and it's like 15,000 or something. So to be doing that amount, that kind of shows you how hard you guys are having to work when you're in the kitchen.
Yeah, I think my effort level was at like 19.8 or something.
So I think the maximum you can get is 21.
Yeah, so I mean, it was like,
you could have
put
a bit
push it a little bit harder. Yeah.
But the steps were like insane. I mean, to be going back onto the first week of our regionals, that Friday cook where we do the whole menu for the judging chamber, that was the day. That was probably one of the hardest cooks I've ever done in my life. Like, it was a proper marathon. Yeah. And I didn't expect that. Like, I think that was, for me, not knowing that I would have to run that hard. I thought it would be a bit more leeway, you got more time here. There's not. It's like you're by yourself, you've got to get this done now.
Because that would have been the only day that you cooked was it all your dishes then on that day?
Yeah, so it's literally all the dishes in one day. And then you're still being judged as well by Tom, by Lorna, by Ed, and then obviously a guest judge. But yeah, I mean, just to cook for them normally would be daunting. And now you're running around behind. I was behind the whole time. Like, it was just trying to catch up time wherever you can. But
I wonder if there's been a record of how many ingredients one person has used for the whole menu.
Yeah, I know.
Well, Jean's beaten that.
Well, I think behind the scenes, my main courses was like, I think it was 127 ingredients or something. Yes. But it wasn't about that. It was obviously because to balance that flavor and the spice, you kind of needed so many different things. But yeah, weighing it out and getting it ready was an absolute nightmare. So I had an amazing home economist, though, Rachel, which like, she saved my life so many times.
So what? Just explain, what does she sort of help with? How does she get involved?
Behind the scenes, like, she was like assigned to me as my home economist for that week, and she's there to pretty much be to help me as much as possible. So they can't cook anything, they can't do anything, but they obviously weigh all your ingredients out, they get everything ready for you. If you need stuff, you can shout and they can kind of help you and stuff.
Do they order your ingredients as well?
Yeah, you kind of do that all together. So if you need anything, you let them know and stuff. But obviously we're quite organized, so like most of that stuff was done before. But you have to have that. If you don't have that, but Rachel just went above and beyond, and she kind of really took this personally, and she's like, no, we can do this.
Yeah, I think I saw she posted something, didn't she? Yeah. Like, it was like PTSD of like all this.
No, it was absolutely, I mean, I couldn't have asked for anyone better, and she's like, we've obviously made a good friendship as well, which is great. Yeah.
Is that now the downsides to come as you start putting some of these dishes on the menu here at Interlude, that you're now 127 ingredients?
Yeah.
Did the rest of the team look at you like you're a lunatic?
I think we're going live next week with our mains on our menu, so they're going to be hating me for a couple of weeks.
Oddly enough, Lewis helped Jean slaughter the goats and was in slaughter. Yeah, literally.
Or break them down.
Break them down.
Oh, right. Okay.
Okay, whatever. I obviously don't cook. But when was it when we watched the heats where Jean put up his goat rack and there was a bone missing, and Lewis goes, "How did you break that bone? I gave it to you perfectly."
But you were still here, what, 8:30 at night? Doing goat one night?
Yeah, I mean,
later.
No, it's like, I mean, we obviously for the banquet we needed 4 goats, and they came in, but obviously I wanted to.
They came in already,
slaughtered.
They were slaughtered. Yeah.
That's just, I mean, this is really not a good look. Jean's here at 9 o'clock at night.
Oh, that's how we do it here at Leonardslee.
Slaughtering goats.
It's a petting zoo in the evening.
Yeah, it just ties in with our Easter trail.
Absolutely.
No.
But we got whole carcasses, and I wanted to butcher it in a very particular way that I could use, so I could be able to carve it and then use it on obviously, and cook it and I'm comfortable, I wanted to do it myself. So, but we don't have the tools, so like it's all done by hand. So it's like it takes a lot longer. But I mean, I forget how long it takes to butcher stuff down when you got a mass amount
Imagine
to do.
if you had to slaughter it.
But chasing a goat is no walk in the park.
On the goat wrangler.
Can we just go through each course and just on the finals week, just just sort of look into those a little bit and kind of the feedback that you got from the judges and just, I mean, so we've spoken about the starter quite a bit. Okay, so that's great, and that'll be on the menu at Interlude as well on occasion. But the fish dish, so that was the first one that you got onto the banquet. How did you feel about that when you were sort of in the actual episode? So that's because I think it's quite interesting, and I'm not sure how I feel about it because they sort of obviously vote people off, or they say you came last, which I think is the harshest one. But as you're sitting there, you're feeling quite confident.
To be honest, I never realized how highly they like my dish. Like like going into it, I wasn't that confident with my fish dish.
Really?
I mean, obviously, once I cooked it on the day, I knew that it was pretty good. Like I wasn't going to get it any better than I cooked it there, and I tweaked it and made it as amazing as possible. But I didn't realize that they regarded that highly. And then as you standing there, it's just kind of really daunting, isn't it? Some of us get to sit, which is a bit easier, but then you have to, So once you start, for me, just standing there, it's like you don't want to be last, and you don't want to be second last, and you don't want to be third last, and it's like, well, where do you draw that line?
Yeah.
And I'm quite competitive, so I can't stand like losing like that. So no, it was, nerve-wracking. And then it's like you're looking at all these guys that have just judged you as well, so it doesn't help.
Yeah, it was really difficult because obviously you got the fish dish, then you got the goat dish, and then I think before you went on, we were all sort of thinking that the dessert was probably
in the bag.
Yeah, the strongest one, and because of the story and how it kind of I think a lot of people would really, and you can see from the kind of feedback and comments, really like the look of that and want to come and eat it. But obviously, I think giving you 3 dishes just would have been outrageous in terms of, you would have had no hands left probably by the end of it because your mind would have been off in other places, mandolining here and there and also trying to get your dessert ready. Do you wish it kind of worked out a slightly different way? Do you, I'm not saying obviously, the desserts that beat you and, Amber's that sort of ultimately won, obviously they were great desserts, I'm assuming. But do you wish that maybe you hadn't got the fish dish and maybe had the opportunity to do that, or are you just happy to get what you?
I think, there's 2 ways to look at it. If I look at before I started and somebody told me I was going to have fish and main course back to back, I would have bitten your hand off. Like I would have taken that any day of the week, and I still will.
Yeah.
Like that's, for me, that was amazing. I went into this wanting 2 dishes at the banquet, and I know a lot of people say that, but that was truly my focus, and that was what I wanted. My dessert dish, there was my favorite course. Like it was, for me, it's my strongest course. I know the flavors were outrageous. Like, and everything, it's very, very, very seldom as a chef that you can get stuff to work like that course works. Every time you added something, it just brought something else out, and it was still grown up, but it was still fun. And for me, it connected to my story so well.
Yeah.
And I think it's because that story has lived with me for so long. I've been a massive Harry Potter fan, and Snape has always been a massive kind of inspiration, and kind of I just love his character. And I think Alan Rickman was like very unsung in the way that everyone just looked at him as Snape, but it's not. It's more than Snape, and it's like so to kind of showcase that. But yeah, in terms of the food, I was a bit gutted coming through, but that's just my competitive nature. Like 3 courses at the banquet, of course I would have done it. I would have made a plan, but yeah.
And you came third by, I might be wrong, but so you got 39 points, isn't it? So let's talk about Ed Gamble, because I'm not over it. But he never fully got on board. He obviously still gave you a 9, so it wasn't.
So one of the feedback that we got afterwards was that he didn't like the fact that the bottles didn't say how much to add. Yet Helena and I, who typed everything up, and Ben literally walked in and Ben was like, I could have drilled that hole for you while I'm literally with like a knife there.
The eyes.
Yeah. And I was like, Ben, you're going to have to leave now because I'm like knee deep in this. But prop-wise, there was instructions with how much to add of everything. And I think he just took that first vial with the popping candy and it just somehow just fell all over. And I think that just I don't know, maybe he felt out of control and then he couldn't go.
Is it political though? You know, is it slightly controversial? But would they let one person have 3 courses?
I don't know. I mean someone would have to make history eventually.
Yeah,
but
I guess so. But I guess the only thing is that when you look at it, I mean, because I think also Sally will be someone that will also look at it and go like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't have 3 dishes. Because to get those scores that she got, I think was amazing.
I do think this could have also counted against Jean, because the people that they chose, except for Florence Nightingale, but if you take Elizabeth David, if you take Sancho, Charles Ignatius Sancho, and then the unsung hero of the teacher, which was in dessert, that all kind of as a banquet makes quite a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If you then go, oh no, we're just going to chuck in a guy that created, what did he create? Like the little spinny? Yay. Do you know what I mean? Someone comes from slavery. This is a woman that's basically changed, with your fish dish has changed the industry or cooking industry or hospitality industry or whatever. To then add someone that's kind of as random as, he created the spinny, or like...
Yeah, I think that's where...
Alan Rickman, I think it becomes a little bit...
I think that's where your inspirations become quite important. So it is a big part of the show, and it is, you want to be able to tell that story and tell it in a decent way where you can still cook amazing food without gimmicks, but kind of really showcase people and kind of tell that story. And I think ultimately having good inspiration is what got us over the line so many times and got us quite close. But yeah, I still would have loved to have been.
But let's all, all of our 10 listeners.
Which is probably us listening to ourselves.
Let's let Ed Gamble know that he needs to get on board with popping candy. And, he's supposed to be a comedian about fun and, lighten up a little bit, Ed.
We're going to have to get Ed at the restaurant. I'm going to give him popping candy on every course.
Give him popping candy galore. Just hide some in his goat. And I think ultimately what shone through is what we all knew beforehand, is that you, again, not blowing smoke, but amazing chef, and you really it came through in bundles. And I think everyone I know keep getting asked, you must be proud of Jean. Of course, everyone here is amazingly proud, because it was incredible. And it's now kind of put the restaurant in a place to be seen, and that's being seen by the bookings coming in, and it's brilliant. So more people coming to Leonardslee to come and experience your food. That's ultimately what we wanted, and there's a lot more exciting things to come, I think.
Yeah, no, I am excited. I mean, like I said, the people have been so positive and so I don't know, just really itching to kind of come and kind of see what we're doing, which is nice.
But not just actually the restaurant. We had a couple over the weekend who had just booked a stay. They didn't want to dine or anything, and they had just come to stay at Leonardslee because they saw it on Great British Menu.
Oh, brilliant. And to hug Jean.
No.
No?
They don't really want to hug, they just kind of want to stare.
Stand nearby. Well, I mean, that was, I think Anya and I were the ones that sort of looking on the different platforms and social media, looking at some of the comments. I mean, blue eyes was a common theme. I mean, there was the Twitter one that was my favourite kind of thread. It was... Jean's hair needs its own TV show. Is that a possibility? And then it was, and his eyes, and his voice. And I think it was just, they want a Jean show. Is that something that's...
Interesting. My wife was like, does he get his hair cut every time?
Yes, he does. Yeah,
yes, he does. Yeah. His hairdresser goes, no, you can't cut too much because you can't look like it's just freshly cut. Yeah. He does have a skillful barber, guys.
Yeah, but that's the Jean show coming soon to a...
Stay tuned.
Wasn't there a comment where it's like, does he blink?
That was, yeah. And my daughter does the best impression of you now, and I'm not going to do it. But, she found it also very funny. So, no, look, I'm glad you're at least able to sort of take, because any of us, I mean, we'll watch this back and I'm sure go, oh yeah, God, absolutely. But, it's, every single person that's puts themselves out there is always going to cringe at some of the things, but,
Not only cringe, but you're putting yourself out there for criticism.
I mean, literally, that is what you were doing. That was, you were putting yourself out there to be judged.
Yeah.
Not necessarily your hair in your eyes, but they got judged anyway. And they got 10s.
Yeah.
One thing that we kind of, I think would be a good time to announce is that we're going to start having a few dates soon where you're going to be actually cooking the GBM menu, your full menu. Obviously, just trying to kind of pick dates throughout the year. Restaurants getting very busy at the moment, so kind of limited. But I think we've got 2 dates at the moment. Does anyone know those off the top of their head, or are we not organised enough for that?
No, we should.
The 25th of May and the 29th of June.
Yeah, so those are going to be the first 2 dates. And just give us a little kind of idea of what people can expect with that.
Yeah, so I think what we wanted to do is ultimately I wanted to showcase the full menu that everybody, well, that the judges got to taste and could see, especially like the judging chamber. So it's going to be it's obviously not quite an interlude experience. It's my Great British Menu experience, and it's going to have the full menu from snacks right through to starters, fish, mains, pre-dessert, dessert. And then we're going to throw in a few more of our interlude favorites. So we'll have our bread course, which is amazing, a couple of snacks, and a few more bits to kind of extend it out a bit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, really ultimately showcasing our project over the last couple of months. And I think the dishes are amazing, and it'd be nice to share it with everybody. Yeah. Especially that, it's one thing to see it, but I think to taste it is just another level.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm genuinely starving after this chat, and just thinking about all those dishes. So I think we're going to be making those live soon. So the best way to find out about those is to sign up to the Interlude newsletter. Ultimately, throughout the year, we'll be releasing more dates, sort of judging by demand, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be very, very popular, as the restaurant is anyway. So it's going to be quite exciting.
Plus, they get to come and see you and stroke you,
and they get to eat off of all your wood.
Your creations as well are sort of out there. That must have been quite proud to see those on there. I mean, it was. I'm not gonna lie. I did cringe a little bit the first time that after Sean brings out his board for the goat, and I can't remember what was just before, but. I mean, it was just like this. I mean, it was banquet worthy just to look at, wasn't it? And you'd like come out there and go, oh my God, this is like, John has taken it to just the ultimate level.
Yeah.
But
doesn't Erin make a joke being like, size does matter?
Well, yeah, even when we were first, going back to it, it's like, I want to make something really big. And
you laughed at me when I said that.
I did.
He's like, you're crazy. I'm like, no, but it needs to be.
Where are you going to put it? All of these kind of things. Yeah. But no, it's lovely to see. It's lovely to see. And, that's just a very small part of this whole journey, so it's nice to be part of it.
What other pieces? What were there was that big board. What other pieces did you?
So we had
the starter bowl.
Starter bowl.
You did something for every course.
Yeah, starter bowl and
had the cracker, the things.
Because assuming we can actually do this, with the video and everything, we'll put some images of all of the and just to sort of show people, and show with the dishes and without, but. Yeah, it'd be good to sort of understand what they were.
Yeah, all the bit. The fish, you had a borrowed plate.
After he made me go back and forth to every charity shop to look for a white platter, and Ben has one.
Yeah,
took a whole day.
I know, I heard. Yeah, and then the main course, obviously, all the bits, and we paired up with this ceramicist.
Yeah, Charlotte, which we need to give a massive shout out to, because she was able to do things in record time for me, and to spec of kind of bespoke things, which is almost impossible to find. And she's been such a lovely person to kind of help us on that journey.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then the big knife set, the carving set.
Yeah, I mean that knife, jeepers.
Yeah, I mean when we said, that's something quite.
Yeah, and that design's all to Ben, like.
Really?
Yeah. So Ben's also like helped me with loads more contacts as well. So like I'd go to Ben with the idea, and he'd say, okay, well he can do the wood part of this, but he has someone that can help me with that, and he's got someone that can help me with that, and ultimately help bring it all together. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we had apples.
Yeah.
Yes, the apples. We keep forgetting about that because that's just in the last episode. Yeah.
And then, little spoons, and then all the desserts bits.
Yeah.
And those magic ones were a nightmare.
I mean, when you dropped those off, your hands were still black, by the way.
But I think that shows that highlights quite a lot about what Interlude's about, because obviously from what the restaurant's about and what your kind of cooking ethos is about is trying to work with the land. But it's not just the land, it's sort of, everyone that's local to us, and it's the people as well that can bring so much more. Like you say, those dishes and that, your whole banquet that you came up with, that's sort of being created in collaboration with someone like Ben, who's not a chef, and maybe, are you a good cook at home?
No.
He used to be a chef.
Oh, really? Okay, so he is a chef. Okay. Well, look, that'll be a good one. We can get you into collab with Jean one night.
Yeah.
We'll do our own kind of judging chamber. I'll eat it.
I'll make the wood and you can cook.
But I think that really shows, that's what Interlude is about as well. And it's amazing, because it's not just about sort of one person necessarily. It's how, working with all these different people and working with what we've got close to us can really influence what ultimately, what gets put in front of people.
Yeah, I mean, you had all the offcuts, for instance. You had all the offcuts, and then you cook your scallop dish with.
Yeah, I mean, obviously sustainability is our big thing at the moment, and so whenever Ben has smoking chips and big large pieces, at the moment we're doing a scallop dish where we literally sear the scallop directly in the fire on pieces of wood, oak. And Ben donates all his offcuts to us, which is amazing. Oh. And it's just a way of using up everything without having to waste or spend money and buy stuff. It's quite cool.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Saves us getting rid of it too.
I think it'd be good to sort of do another episode and kind of just talk about the restaurant as a whole. But I think this was really interesting to talk about GBM. And I know what I think was we need to encourage people to get in touch and ask lots of questions. They want to know what happens behind the scenes, and anything they want to know. I'm sure you'll be more than willing to give lots of answers. Dish the dirt.
Live Q&A here.
Live Q&A. I like it. See if the John's just giving you an evil.
We can do it in the events field.
In the event field. Well, hey, we could do it. We could do that.
Get some tight whites on him.
Yeah, but no, I think...
Didn't you get an award for that afterwards? The cleanest apron?
Yeah,
really?
at the wrap party, they do a fun awards type thing through the crew and everything, and the chefs that were there. And they gave me an award for the most well-presented chef throughout the whole series. So it's quite cool. But I always try to keep it as clean as possible. So it was it's just the way we like to work around here. So.
Yeah. I think, is there anything you wanted to say to sort of, I think you've now got a lot more fans, all jokes aside, apart from the hair and the eyes, but, a lot of people that are really kind of appreciative of how well you did, and, anything you want to say to those people that are now your biggest fans?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I didn't expect how many people would reach out on such a positive note, congratulating me, and just amazed, and just people that followed and just coming along the journey with us now, which is, for me, is so special, because we've been doing this in the UK now since 2018, and it's been a long, hard push, and we've had ups and downs, but now it really feels like we're in a really good space, and to be able to have the people now coming and joining and really following us again and then for me, I didn't expect it. I know we've always been able to do stuff quite well, but be able to be appreciated and people coming, I didn't expect it at all.
Yeah, and from his biggest critic, go on, let's have some nice. Come on, Anya.
I'm sorry. I think the quote that I gave, that they somehow edited that I sounded really soppy, was the best I could do.
Yeah, no, look, I was
remind us of it.
No, because I can't even remember. Because that was really stressful to sit at the banquet episode. So they invited to a premiere, and Andy Oliver's sitting right in front of me, Avril, one of the producers, and all of the chefs. And afterwards, I noticed that Amber was sitting 2 seats down, and I just thinking, I'm gonna sound like an idiot. Oh no! I was genuinely stressed, and then so I can't imagine how he felt throughout the entire series, because people come and ask you. So he'd obviously, on the day of filming the banquet, made that remark of my wife's my biggest critic, but I didn't obviously know that. So twice after his food was served at the banquet, the producers come up to you with the cameras and they go, "We're going to ask you some questions now," and they kept going, "We hear a little birdie has said that you're his biggest critic," and then you kind of go,
That's true.
What do I say to that? Yeah, of course I am.
Yeah, keep on his toes.
Yeah, but you can't say that because it doesn't come across soppy. So no, I did that. I'm very proud of him.
There we go. That was
nailed it. He should have won though.
Yeah, damn right he should have won. But that's not what we're biased, so we would say that.
Conspiracy theories.
But no, yeah, all very proud of you.
Episode to follow.
And if you haven't watched it, please make sure you do. It's definitely available on iPlayer, I'm assuming. And and then book in and come and
stroke him.
Come and I don't know. I think maybe. I was just going to say maybe book a table, book a room.
But
I wasn't going to say it.
That's fine. Yeah, come and stroke him. That's fine. Thanks everyone, and thanks for today, guys. And we'll do a lot more of these, and kind of keep everyone updated on what's happening at the restaurant on the estate. And hope to see a lot more people coming to eat Jean's feasts. Thank you.